John was working in his science lab, got blasted by gamma rays. Now he's Smash Trivia John, always smashing. He's friends with Ruffalo, crushing on Maslany, and also Sydney Sweeney. John's here saying, hello my gamma friends, welcome to the show, the Gamma Analysis Podcast.
Smash.
Hello, my Gamma friends. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies, TV shows, and I also do random other geeky films. Hope you enjoy. Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening if they could please do something for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. If you don't, Hulk will be angry. Now let's smash right into this episode. Today, I'm going to review Jennifer's Body with Billiam from TikTok. How you doing, Billiam?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. I appreciate you having me back on.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have you back on. I loved having you the first time. And I'm so glad that you're willing to come on such short notice.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as long as I have nothing going on, I'd love to do it. And even then, if you let me know, I can just move stuff around.
All right, thanks. Nice. The reason that you probably noticed with us with a lot of the films that I gave you as a choice for or reviewing, a lot of them had a satanic theme. I have found I should actually preface I was this month on being November. This is my birthday month, and I wanted to do a lot of things that are very specific to me and my taste. And I've noticed that I really like films that have satanic themes in them. So I wanted to do one film this month that was like that. I'm glad you chose us one like that then.
Yeah, I remember seeing this movie when it came out, and I really liked it, but I remember there was a lot of backlash for it, which of course we could talk about when we go deeper into the movie. But when I saw it on the list, I'm like, you know what? I haven't watched it in a while. It's on my list, my Blu-ray backlog list, where I have all these Blu-rays and stuff I haven't watched in a while. I'm like, hey, I need to go through them, cull it a little bit, and see, like, do I need all these just to make a little room? And like, you know what? It just fit. And who better, in my opinion, to talk about a very feminist forward movie than two men? No one.
Oh man. Look, this film is definitely a lot of fun. Well, I actually like I had watched a little bit of it years ago, but this week for this recording was the first time I actually ever watched the film in full.
Really?
What are these controversies that is surrounding the film?
Well, it's controversy actually seems like a loaded word, and maybe not the best way to put it, because when this came out, it was sold as very sex forward, and it is a very sexual film, but not in the way it's presented. It was shown as like, look, we have Megan Fox. She is very beautiful. Here's her implying that she's going to have sex, implied that she's going to get some form of skimpy clothing on. Guys come to the theater to watch her be sexy, and then when people went to the theater, that's not the movie they saw. And I think it's a case of a very poor or purposefully misleading marketing.
Makes sense. I mean, and that was something I was actually thinking about earlier. I was looking at the poster for this film. Like the poster for this film gives off a very different vibe from what the actual film is.
Yeah. It really does, because I think the main poster, there are two main ones. One of them is her in a, like, is it her cheerleading uniform or something? And she's covered in blood. And then the other one is her on a teacher's desk or
Yeah, well,
school desk,
yeah,
and
well,
it's
the
like
one on the
that's
teacher's desk is what I was thinking of it. It's like yeah, but like yeah, that's a very different vibe from what this actual film actually is.
yeah.
I enjoyed what the film is. I think I probably would have also enjoyed if it was that it was the vibe that that poster is as well.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
it would be good, Joe, just because I went in with an open mind,
Mhm.
and I think that's what saved it in my eyes. Not that I wouldn't be down for whichever version it would have been, but again, when you go into a movie thinking it's going to be one thing and
Mhm.
it's another, but
Yeah.
you're not sold on both possibilities, it could color that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That reminds me of um how I've heard so many times about how the film Cabin in the Woods, people literally walked out of screenings of it because they were because the film that they present in the trailer is not what the actual film is.
Yeah, that opening though sets the tone perfectly for what the
Mm-hmm.
movie is with Bradley
Oh yeah.
Whitford and
Yeah, like, but
yeah,
the trailers were billing it as just this straightforward cabin in the woods horror film, all
yeah, something
Evil
akin to Evil
Dead,
Dead.
yeah,
Exactly.
and that is another film that I did not watch for the first time until just a couple of years ago, and I had already known beforehand about this all of this switch up stuff of it, and it's so interesting to me because I'm like I kind of wish I could have seen it in theaters when it came out because I think that would have been an interesting experience going to see Seaside that the trailer told me it was going to be something completely different.
Yeah, because I again with Cabin in the Woods, I really liked it. I was pleasantly
Mhm.
surprised, but you're right. It sold the movie as a slasher almost, or as like a hunt, maybe more haunted house kind of, but they're in this cabin, spooky stuff is
Mhm.
happening, a la Evil Dead, like you mentioned. And what we ended up seeing was more of a comedy slash critique on the genre,
Yeah.
which actually is kind of which is what Jennifer's Body is a critique on the genre too, and even women's place within that genre.
Yeah. And sign that I do that this is sign I only even started thinking about out earlier this year as a reaction channel that I watch on YouTube had brought this up. Uh, they said they always like when there is sexualization in films that are films and shows that are made by women because you know that it's not exploitative. If
Yeah.
it's just there to be fun because it's fun. On sex is a fun thing,
Go
and
figure. Who
and ever since then, I've thought about it, like, I've thought about. It, I'm like, yeah, that I a lot of films where it's where there's sexualization in it and it was made by women. I think that's so much more interesting than and you get and you can enjoy it without feeling weird about it.
Also, with that though, it usually doesn't feel like it doesn't belong. A
Mhm.
lot of movies, like I am, sometimes I think I come across as prudish with my look at view on sex in movies, but I also believe that if you could take it out and the movie doesn't change, and it doesn't really need to be there. And because sometimes it's just thrown in, and it's like, why was this scene here? Why did I need to see it? I mean, yay, beautiful people doing stuff, but at the same time, why was it part of this narrative? Why is it part of
Mhm.
this story? And I think that since, of course, with Jennifer's Body, that's the main main focus, like her implied virginity in the beginning was what started this whole thing. Otherwise, they probably would have picked Amanda Seyfried's character was called
Needy.
Needy. That's right. They probably would have
Which
picked Needy.
which that's that interesting thing in itself. It's her name because they never in the film call her actual name, which is Anita. But
Yeah.
they always call her Needy. I had to look at on IMDb what her real name is because I didn't know while I was watching this.
I never knew that either. That I am learning this. This is new information to me, brought to me by Smash Trivia John.
Oh man. Oh yeah. It's speaking of the people behind the film though, Diablo Cody, who's the main person behind this, she's also who made one of the two people who made Lisa Frankenstein this year.
I do remember that I saw that this year. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, I love Lisa Frankenstein. It's so much fun.
I thought it was a lot of fun too, and it's another kind of this one they sold right. Of course, it wasn't. It's not and not anything like Jennifer's Body, but I think it's a very stylized, 80s stylized, campy,
Mm.
yet not obtuse, but it's kind of it gets out there a little bit, and it goes a little further than you would think with how brutal and how campy it
Yeah.
gets. And so
Uh,
it goes a little further than I was ready for, and I actually like that because it
mhm.
didn't come across as unnecessary.
I was like, that was a film I was very surprised by. And the main reason is because it's rated PG-13 and it's a very raunchy film. I was very surprised by that with Lisa Frankenstein but I especially when there's the scene of them cutting off a dude's dick. Like,
Yeah.
whoa. Oh, this is PG-13. Wow, I'm surprised that they were able to do that.
Well, as you know, as we get older, as time goes on, I think more and more things are becoming PG-13. Like I think if you take a PG-13 movie now and go back in the day, it wouldn't even be released in theaters. If you remember,
I think that is an interesting thing where now there are definitely, I think there are somewhat more things that you can show in a PG-13 rating, but also before the PG-13 rating, there's so much you could show in a PG rating that you can't show now.
yeah, I guess that it kind of mixed both ways. And I think that
Yeah.
it always seems like especially in today's society, violence is more okay, sexuality is not. And I think that's where I kind of see
Mm,
the divide. We can have a lot more violence in a PG-13 movie than we can of like any sexuality. I mean, I
mhm,
remember listening to your episode before Deadpool and Wolverine came out, and I know it did come up the fact that a PG-13 movie, it wasn't PG-13, of course,
mhm.
but if he's in a movie that's PG-13, he's allowed one F-bomb, and then it should be Deadpool that says it. And I think that's another thing too. Like swearing is another thing that we're very, oh no, we can't do,
Yeah,
even
it's
though
weird.
even though I knew all of those
I
words
I'm
before I
gonna be
was
honest.
13.
I think that the rating system is all kind of dumb because just like it really feels like it must be it just depends on whether the filmmakers bribe the MPAA because there are actually listed rules of how of what makes sign PG-13 or what makes sign R. But then there are films like Titanic that have full frontal nudity in it, and I'm like, what? How does that make sense? And
Oh,
I've also seen some PG-13 films that do have multiple f bombs in it.
yeah.
I've also seen in R-rated films where I'm like, this doesn't feel like this needs to be R-rated. This feels very tame for an R-rated film.
Yeah.
Like I was talking like 2 months ago or something to my friend and Matt from the Low Bearing Beans podcast asked about the out Mad Max Fury Road. That has an R rating, and it's so weird to me because there's barely any cursing in it. There's barely any sexualization, and there's and the violence is pretty bloodless.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like that is a film where they made it R-rated just because they knew Mad Max fans wanted to be wanted to the it to be called R-rated when in reality it would have probably been so much better for the film if they just had to have a PG-13 rating,
Yeah.
because then it would have made so much more money and it wouldn't have taken 10 years for Furiosa to come out.
God, what was the MPAA reasoning for Mad Max Fury Road? No, mild sex and nudity, violence and gore, moderate. Yeah, everything's mild or moderate. I don't.
It's like they say that there's sex and nudity. I'm like, anything that does appear in it is very, very quick, and it's barely even able to be seen when it is there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is like, it's so weird to me, the rating system. I think that the rating system should be abolished, and instead have that we just make it so that you can and look at a parental guide saying this is the things that appear in it, and then parents can decide whether to take their kids to it. It feels, the rating system feels so meaningless if there's not they're not following their own rules for it.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I feel like as well. I don't like the idea that that a film has to be R-rated for any form of on a female nudity, but both all the male's chest and butt can be in a PG-13 rating. I'm like,
Yeah.
that feels a little bit of a double standard.
So silly. There are no double standards in Hollywood. No. But no,
Like,
I totally get that too. Because something, when I talk to my wife sometimes about movies, something we bring up is how when there's something even kind of even slightly objectionable in a movie, if you swap it from like a gender swap it or something, the
mhm.
sides of it, how like would that have passed muster for whatever
there's
rating it would be, or like would it make it worse or better? And then also, why is that?
well,
Why do we have
there's
these standards like that?
There's definitely, yeah. So I was thinking out for a while a few months ago. I don't know if you've seen any of the times that I've mentioned on TikTok how I have for the past couple of years I've been binging The Simpsons from the beginning.
Yeah.
And one thing that stood out to me a couple months ago, as I was watching, and this really pissed me off was how okay they were about having an episode, and this was like early 2000, an episode from the early 2000s, and an episode where Marge rapes Homer, and then they just went on with the show as if that didn't happen. I'm like, that's a very serious thing. This is That's not a joke.
Yeah, Family
Even
Guy
if
did the
it's
same thing. Yeah.
even if it's even if it's a female email that's the one doing it, it's still bad.
Yeah.
And it's kind of stained my view of Marge as I watch the show going forward. I'm like anytime they have that Homer does sign I'm wrong and Marge gets mad at him, I'm like, you do not have a place to stand on in this argument. You are
Yeah.
no better than him. You are so much worse.
God, unfortunately, with shows like that though, is they do so much and they have so many episodes that they just move on with it, and we can't really revisit things
I
like that, even though we
understand
probably
that.
should.
I understand that. It's just like it saddens me that there has been in the past, and there somewhat still is this double standard that's standard um between and it's they think it's just okay for anything involving if men being sexualized or men get having assault happen to
Mhm.
them, but then it's like how is that okay okay to show, but then if it's the other way around, then it's not like it's both it's bad either way
Yeah.
or like and I'm on and no not in not when it comes to stuff like rape and things, but but sexualization, I think that there is an element of we're we should I think either we should have that everything is R-rated for both genders, or it should be
Mhm.
a all PG-13 for both genders. And I'm honestly of the opinion that I would say they I'm more or leaning towards it should be PG-13, just because I think it's not a good thing to make like stuff like sex be this forbidden thing that's
Yeah.
a thing. I think that creates a lot of the creeps in the world by making it this taboo thing.
Yeah.
Versus if you just let things be shown and own and don't act like it's this crazy thing, and just then you'll normalize it, and things will be better for both sides, both men and women.
I think when I think of that, like I think that's just a holdover from the Hayes Code, that we had before the MPAA. I think it was like from and ended in like the 60s or 70s or something when the MPAA became a thing. But I think you're right, and I think we also have to keep in mind, like, wonder what's happening in the scene. Is it just someone getting out of the shower, or are they banging? It's that those are two totally different things. And
Yeah,
I think that based on a grade, like
yeah,
the rating system, I think that could be looked at
yeah.
as different because one's an intimate thing that you like people usually do in the privacy of their own
Mhm.
homes. Okay,
I
bathing
think
is that
it
too, but one
help.
is just someone's body.
Mhm. I think things like that can be done, but also it's also this I think even things like banging is I don't mind have let a 13-year-old old seeing something like that, because they do need to learn about these
Yeah,
things, and that'll spark some curiosity, and then they can talk to their parents about it, especially since it doesn't not all schools are willing to teach things like that at
yeah,
which we absolutely should have sex education in schools.
exactly.
I think there's just it's just sign that I'm that being more open about it would be just so much better for the world, in my opinion. And I'm also just like someone who's very sex positive
Yeah.
person. So but I can understand people maybe not wanting to see scenes like that and if you don't want to, that's okay. There are many other films that you can watch.
And I think that also could go back to what you were saying about like more of a parent's guide, because I have
Mhm.
used parents' guides and things like that way more than I ever have like recently, of course,
Mhm.
ever relied on a rating,
Yeah.
or especially like that website. I forgot what it's called, but Does the Dog Die? Basically, where it has a movie, it tells you if there's a movie of the dog in it, does the dog make it through?
Ah.
And so things like that, like
Yeah.
you look for certain things. If you have certain
Yeah. The
triggers, certain things you don't like, go,
exactly.
hey, yeah,
And it's not and like people who are so vehemently against trigger warnings, I'm not telling them they need to look at those things. I just think there should be the option for people who do have those problems, and then everybody can be happy. Whether if you don't want to look at those things, you don't
yeah.
have to, but if you do want to know about if this film's going to have your triggers, then you should be able to know about that. like I for me, a big thing because it bothers my eyes is flashing lights. So I always want to know if the film's gonna have that in there.
Yeah.
And another thing is if there because I had an abusive childhood. I want to know if what I'm watching is going to be something that I'm about to have an anxiety attack over watching.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a understandable thing to and I don't care if it spoils the film for me, finding that out. I would
Yeah.
rather have the film spoiled for me than have an anxiety attack while watching it.
Yeah, and that's like exactly like you said, that just because we have things like this, like a parent's guide or trigger warnings and things like that, doesn't mean you need to use it. Like
Mhm,
I don't need it, so I don't use it.
mhm.
I have friends and family that do, so they use it. Or if I'm
Yeah,
going with them, I look.
it,
Done. That's easy. That's all it
yeah,
needs to
it annoys
happen.
me that there are people who are like who they're so vehemently against and trigger warnings so they're like, oh, it ruins the film if you have that. I'm not telling you you have to look at it.
Yeah.
I just want there to be the
Yeah.
option and I think the trigger warnings things and a parental guide I are so much of a better option than just going by what the rating is.
Yeah.
Is these ratings things are just so dumb. You talked in the DMs as me like a month or so ago about the possibility of you trying to come on to review a Fast and Furious film with me.
Oh yeah, that'd be
But
great. Yeah.
I remember in 2013 when Fast and Furious 6 came out. I wanted to watch that so bad because my family had been watching these series since I was a little kid,
Mhm.
and my dad had told me that because it says that there's partial nudity in the PG-13 rating that and that I couldn't watch it. But then when we ended up watching it, there's nothing like that. There's no nudity in the film at all,
Yeah.
and it's like what? And then we ended up having to turn off the film because he decided that I did that the fact that there are women in bikinis in it was too much. Even though we've watched so many films that are worse than that, I think
Yeah.
he just wanted to confirm that he was right that it's too
Yeah.
inappropriate for us like he always had a very skewed look at maturity in films. If it was a film he wanted to watch, we would watch it no matter what. If he didn't want to watch it, then he would find something wrong with it.
Yeah, of course, because like especially when you look, when you're actively looking, like in his case, not wanting to watch that, I bet you you're going to find something.
He, like he loved to have the family watch Steven Seagal movies. He loved Steven
Oh my,
Seagal,
my
which
dad
I
did too.
hated. I hated those films because the problem was that they were are so filled with sex and nudity that probably 2/3 of the film we had to fast forward or skip past so you could never understand what was going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you okay with us watching those Steven Seagal films, but Fast and Furious 6, which is a PG-13 film, you have a
Yeah.
problem with?
Oh man. Steven, I think the only Steven Seagal film I could still watch to this day might be Under Siege, like the first one. Because like I watched all of them when I was a kid because my dad
Mhm.
loved him. So like a similar case in that point. But looking back on it, the only one I think that might be even worth it,
I think
maybe Exit Wounds.
for me, the only film with Steven Seagal in it that I would think about rewatching now as an adult, and this is a film where he's not even the star of
Oh,
is Machete. because he's the villain in that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot he was in Machete. I was waiting for you to say Executive Decision. Not that he's a villain, but he's in just in it for a little bit.
He's the villain in the first Machete film, and I love Danny Trejo, so
Oh,
so
yeah.
I will happily rewatch that at even if he's in it.
I completely forgot he was in that. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, a few years ago, I was looking up the original Machete film, and I was like, I do not remember him being in it when I watched that before.
Yeah. Man.
Oh man, we've gone on for a while about the outrageous. Um, so Jennifer's Body, I thought it was a really fun plot, though. Two things is about that I would say against it. One, I don't like how many times they use the R slur in it.
Mm.
It
I noticed that. Yeah.
like that bothers me whenever I hear that in films. But that's very much a me thing. And I do also think there are multiple points where things could have been a lot better if Needy just did some took some more initiative. If like if she had immediately upon seeing that fire yelled, "There's a fire," then
Yeah.
maybe none of this might have happened. Or maybe if she had taken her phone with her to the bar, she could have called the police when they took her in that van. When they
Yeah.
took Jennifer in that van, I can't imagine in going out to a bar and not taking my phone with me.
Actually, yeah, just because you're, especially a place like that where they
Yeah.
went, where it's a little more like my wife and I one time went to this a supposedly haunted bar about a couple hours north of us, and it even I was uncomfortable. It just seemed like one of those like super seedy, dangerous places. I'm like,
Mhm.
thank God I have my phone on me.
Yeah, like I would not. I don't like going anywhere without my phone, especially if I'm gonna be going to a place where there's a whole bunch of strangers, particularly strangers getting drunk. I'm gonna want my phone.
Yeah,
So if something happens to me, then I can try to call the police, or I can try to call family. Um, I would not leave my phone in my bedroom. I would just oh, I think that she should have brought her phone, and then immediately when she saw the when as they were driving away in the van, she should have called the police and said, "Hey, I think these people are gonna do bad things to my friend.
yeah.
Can you check out these people?"
Because it felt like when they were taking her into the van, she she did nothing. Like she just kind of
Oh yeah.
watched. And I while I can sit back and I can understand that that's her character and that's her
Mhm.
story, that's her arc of learning to be this person who actually takes initiative. At the same time, I would think that even the most timid or reserved person, I would hope
Oh,
in that case would
they'll go into
try to do
survival
something.
mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was just crazy to me that she didn't try at all, really. Eh, but also, I think that there should be a little bit more of her being sympathetic towards Jennifer,
Yeah.
especially when she learns what actually happened. Because if is clearly based on what Jennifer told her,
Mhm.
she physically has to eat these people. She can't just stop
Yeah.
because she will die herself. Just like you would not say that a tiger is evil for eating someone.
Yeah.
If they it's simply nature.
I think there's something I say quite a bit that I think applies to this, where if people made good decisions, movies would not happen.
Yeah, I understand that.
So
I'm just like I that it's just how my brain works. Is like I'm like if I can think of very easy ways that this could have just not occurred, then that should be a point of criticism towards the film. If I can't think of any reason why this wouldn't have happened,
yeah.
then that's a good film to me. And I'm not saying this is a bad film. I really liked this film, but I do
Mhm.
think that that's a valid criticism of it. That there are multiple points of things where I'm like they could have done they she could have made things so much better, or she could have or if she just had a little bit more empathy for her friend,
Yeah.
and they even even before she knew that Jennifer was killing people, she didn't have any empathy for her, or she was like, "Oh, you don't see these things as sign to mourn about, so you're bad." She's clearly had a traumatic thing happen to her,
Yeah.
or and that could be clouding her thoughts. So you should be particularly trying to help her, or through whatever is going on, even if you don't know what's going on.
Actually, I think we get so much more explanation of why Jennifer is the way she is than we do of Needy, especially at
Mm,
the near the end of the film. We get that flashback because during the film we see that flashback quite a bit of them playing with each other when they're little girls,
mhm,
and we kind of see Jennifer. It seems like she's running the show, telling Needy who she is when they're playing pretend. But then we see it again at the very end, and we see it from Jennifer's perspective, and we see this insecure little girl, and then you can and from that we can imply that's who she still is, and
mhm.
all of it's just an act.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, if she wasn't that person, she wouldn't have gone with them. Maybe the everything could have been avoided. And then also maybe, like you said, Needy could have just checked in with her friend a bit more, going, "Hey, like,
Mm.
what's up? Like, you were laughing or like booing when they're talking about these people dying. What's up?"
Uh, I also kind of feel like her boyfriend didn't handle things well either.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend was like, "Oh, your friend might be having some really bad things happen to her. No, you don't need to care about her because other people are dying. Yes, we should care about the other people dying, but it's perfectly understandable for someone to care that their friend possibly is having terrible things done to them
Yeah.
that are quite literally worse than death."
Yeah. Though, did you recognize the boyfriend as young Neil from Scott Pilgrim?
No, I did not. That's
I didn't
cool.
even put that
Oh,
together until I was looking up
what?
the movie before we recorded.
Yeah. Speaking of actors, there's two actors I want to point out. One is J.K. Simmons. Is he's so It's so strange seeing him in this film because he's so different from any other film I've ever seen him
Yeah.
in. He's doing this slight accent that is so fake. Oh,
It was
and
very campy.
yeah, but that was fun having him in this as and another one who appears literally for just one scene, but as I was watching, I was like, I recognize that voice. Um, the actor who plays the jock's dad after they found the jock's body in the woods,
Mhm.
we hear him yelling about what he's going to do to these whoever did this to his son, on and it's so funny to me because it's the voice of Patrick from SpongeBob.
I did not put that together.
Yeah, I was like, well, yeah, I heard it. All right, as I was watching, I was like, wait, that voice sounds very familiar. So I looked it up, and yeah, it's Patrick from SpongeBob, and he's talking about like ripping the person's balls off or something when he finds them, and it's like it's so wild hearing the voice of Patrick say something like that.
Is this that guy's dad? No, it's Patrick.
Oh man. Oh, hey, let me see. What else do I want to talk about with this film? I think, do you think, in the end, Jennifer is actually dead?
I yes, because we don't see any hint of her coming.
Mhm.
There's no finger twitch, there's no where she's buried
Yeah,
moving, there's no hint because also her powers have been passed on to
makes
Needy.
sense. Though I do find it interesting how the thing that actually killed her was not any of the stabs or anything. It's literally just Needy pulling their friendship necklace off of her.
Yeah, this final we're done kind of thing, like maybe
Yeah.
making Jennifer realize, or what's left of Jennifer within that
Mhm.
realize, because I'm still not certain, like, if how much control she has. Like, is she sharing her body with a demon, or does she have these powers now
Yeah.
that have warped her mind?
Mhm.
And because I think that I think it's the latter, where she has, well, like, maybe if she even if she has a demon in her, it's not like it's fully possessing her, just because she kind of stays true to herself, even if she gets a little more extra in certain
Mhm.
areas.
I'm kind of surprised that the eyes that Needy ended up being the one to kill the band and not Jennifer. Like
Yeah.
if something like that had happened to me, I would be the one trying to kill the band. Not I would not just leave them while killing other people. I think they are definitely the people that deserve to be fed off of
Yeah.
of at this point.
I completely forgot. Speaking of the band, I completely forgot that when I first saw this film, I actually really liked that song. I was like, yeah, low shoulder, let's go. I mean, you're terrible people and you sacrifice someone to the devil, but that's a good song. You did it.
Honestly, I'd say at least them sacrificing someone to the devil is better than what Needy thought they were gonna be doing.
Yeah.
That's oh man.
I I do like, because you mentioned earlier that seeing things from the female perspective, like female directors, female writers. I think that man, if a guy had made this, male writer, male director, maybe there would have been an assault before that. But now we're seeing, but from Diablo Cody and what's the director's name, Karen Kusama, that wasn't the point
Mhm.
of it. And it's actually showing that, look, we can have this story, even this revenge story, especially with Needy going in
Yeah.
at the end, without that element in it.
Yeah. And like I'm someone who is definitely of the feeling of even if like something like that actually is supposed to take place in the story, I would rather if they just do not show that because it's like
Yeah.
nobody
Just
needs
imply
to
it.
see that
Yeah.
happen. Just completely skip past that scene and just say that happened because it's like yeah, that's not needed. Needed.
Yeah, and we gain nothing from seeing it,
Yeah.
because we know, like,
Mhm.
any compassionate person would, it'd be implied that, oh, this something terrible
Any
has happened. We do not need to, like,
any film that I've actually seen that happen in, I'm immediately uncomfortable when I see it happen. And I'm
yeah,
like, what? And it's like, why? Well, you could have just told us that happened, and I I'm not gonna act like it changes the story because it doesn't.
yeah,
Well, I just know that happened, and now we have this reason to hate these people.
yeah.
Uh-oh. Yeah. There. It saddens me that there are a lot of films that they're very okay with showing stuff like that, and it's like maybe we could just not show that. If there's anybody who actually does enjoy seeing scenes like that, they should be looked into.
That's a red flag right
Yeah.
there.
uh, um, I think. Now, when Lisa Frankenstein had come out, Diablo Cody actually said that these are both all set in the same universe, which
Really?
is really interesting. I am, and I'm wondering if there's like an actual reason why she said that, or just because they have similar feels to them, somewhat. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that they could possibly actually have like a crossover or at some point because see, guys, as this is set, I'm pretty sure supposed to be present day of 2009
Yeah.
and versus that is set in the 80s. So they would have it would be very old looking Cole Sprouse and also Catherine Newton if they were to
Yeah.
try and have a crossover between that.
It's like the weirdest Freddy versus Jason take. It's like Needy versus Lisa.
Right, that reminds me of I've never actually watched any of the Predator or the Alien films, but it kind of reminds me of those and the crossover between those because from what I've heard, the Alien movies are set in the distant future versus
Mhm.
the Predator films are set in present day. So it is apparently a very weird the crossovers because they make it so that the aliens are there in present day,
Yeah.
even though that makes no sense for the Alien franchise.
I always take those with movies with a grain of salt, just as like something dumb, fun, and
Mhm.
violent to watch. But if I want to watch a good film, I'll watch like the first two in the Alien franchise, the first the first two in the Predator thing, and then Prey, which came out a couple years back. There are good ones in it, but those it's like it was 100% a cash grab,
Mhm.
like Freddy versus Jason.
Oh yeah,
It was fun, but when I think of
yeah.
like if I want to watch something good quality, I'm not going to put that on. If I want to watch dumb fun, Alien
Mhm.
versus Predator, sure. Freddy versus Jason, yeah.
Yeah, but and like I'm of the opinion of if you want to cross things over, absolutely do it. Just for that because it's fun. I don't care what the story is. Story is just make it be dumb fun, and I'll watch it. Even if it doesn't make sense for the franchises, though I would like you to try and make it make sense for the franchises, but I'm not gonna hold you to that because this is just us getting to have that fun interaction, and which for me, when watching movies, interactions is the most interesting thing to me.
Yeah.
I care so much more about seeing characters interact than whatever the story is. I'm like if because that the characters interacting is really the make or break thing for me. If the characters interacting is boring, then I'm probably gonna be bored watching the film.
Yeah.
Um, I think if there's anything else that I want to talk about with this film. Apparently, Dabil Cody actually made a cameo in the film, as she is apparently the bartender that Megan Fox Ox goes to play Hello Titty with.
I mean, hey, Diablo Cody, I guess, knows what she likes in that
Yeah,
sense.
that's fun. Apparently there was as an unofficial musical for the film in 2018, which that sounds like a really fun time.
That
I'm watching a
does.
musical of this.
I mean,
I
hey, if they
sign that,
turned Beetlejuice into a musical, they can do it
yeah.
with this.
Like something that I've been thinking about for a while that I really want to see is a musical film that is this this bloody thing about somebody killing people. I think that would make for such a fun time. I'm
Yeah.
watching watching this killer just singing while they're just stabbing people and they're in a room full of blood or something.
Yeah.
I think that would make for a really fun film, and so, oh, I would definitely want to see a musical of this.
That would be fun. I think the closest
Yeah.
thing we have like maybe Sweeney
Mhm.
Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, or
I
Anna and the
haven't seen that.
Apocalypse.
I love Anna and the Apocalypse, but I haven't seen Sweeney Todd, but I love Anna and the Apocalypse. It's one of the most unique Christmas films that exist.
It really is. I'm working on my list to do 25 days of Christmas or however many days of Christmas there
It's
are. And that's definitely on the list. It's
oh my god,
something
it's
I
so
watch every year.
it's and it's something that I feel like not a lot of people know about, but once you know about it, you want to tell everybody about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I always
Uh,
recommend it because it's one that I can almost guarantee people have not seen. And I
um,
do definitely think it's worth seeing because it's also a good musical
mm,
and also it's a good zombie movie too.
yeah. Have you do you at all listen to the artist is Sabrina Carpenter?
Mm, I have heard some songs, but I haven't not
So
on repeat.
I asked because there's a music video that she did with Jenna Ortega that I think is so much fun. It's literally just it's literally about them repeatedly killing each other. They are literally immortal, and they're killing each other in different fun ways as Sabrina Carpenter is singing.
Okay. Oh, look.
Let
Oh,
me
so
see
I
if I
found it
can.
on her IMDb. Taste. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
have to look that up.
I definitely suggest as watching that music video, and that's side where I particularly would like. I want them to try and see if there's a way to make that into an actual like full length film because like I think that's such a fun concept. Two people just as repeatedly killing each other in different unique ways as they sing. Saying, I think that would make for a really unique and fun film.
It could even be like a new spin or a new take on Death Becomes Her. Do you remember that movie with
I've never seen it. I've heard about it though.
yeah. It's I haven't watched it in a long time. So I don't know if it holds up, but I remember liking it. I had to look up who the other person was, but Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, Goldie Hawn, Isabella Rossellini. But that's a good cast, and this kind of these two actresses learn of immortality and they like trying to outdo each other kind of thing. I'm like, I could see that being this
Mm,
thing. So not a remake or a reboot per se, but just something inspired by.
yeah. Well, that makes sense. Trying to think. Is there any last thing you'd like to talk about this movie?
Something I noticed on my rewatch was that for a movie of this type of Jennifer's Body's type, none of the boys she kills did any of the cardinal sins of a slasher. Because though it's not technically a slasher, it's a demon, but it
Mm,
presents itself like a slasher in that sense. None of them like they usually see they do something wrong
yeah.
to in the eyes of the movie deserve it. And like who was the worst one? Like maybe the boyfriend who like directly like kisses Megan Fox like the day of or the day after he breaks up with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
the goth guy, we don't even know, like he just wanted to go out with her.
Yeah. That's nothing wrong with that. And then the jock literally was just mourning
Yeah,
and she took advantage of him
yeah,
and I do want to talk a little bit about the boyfriend and um they have the previous scene and it's literally them breaking up
yeah.
but then they're both going to the dance and still even though they even that was weird to me they were both going to the dance still even though they broke up but also maybe if he had just gone to the dance and not needy maybe it could make sense
Yeah,
but at the very least I feel like it's weird that needy went to the dance since she
that is a
particularly
little
said
weird.
I
Yeah,
can't go to the dance.
yeah, because at least with him I could picture that he still brought the corsage or the corsage for her, because I could see him hoping to rekindle, going, hey, what's
Mm-hmm.
up, let's talk there. But for her because she hadn't yet at that point realized, oh, I have to take her out. Like
Yeah,
that
she
didn't happen until she saw.
like she just told him I can't go to the dance because of this, and then just decides, oh, I'll just go to the dance, I guess.
Yeah.
Like what? Oh, I'm definitely reading too much into the film like
But
this.
of course, isn't that what people like us do? We watch movies and we read into it. You know,
Oh man.
that's kind of
Uh,
our shtick. That's
oh
our
yeah, I do though definitely like I really enjoyed this film. It was a lot of fun to watch. Having a beautiful woman like Megan Fox just killing a bunch of people. That's enough to make me enjoy film.
yeah.
But yeah, this was great. There's nothing really else I have to talk about with this film. Any final words before I end this off?
Well, no, you just made a good point that this is a movie you can watch in two ways. If you do just want to watch it as Megan Fox killing guys, you can. If you want to watch it as more like look into the imagery, look into the meaning
Mm-hmm.
behind everything, you can do that too. So no matter which way you want to watch it, there is something for you. And I think that makes a good
Oh
film.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I feel like, well, everybody, please check out Billiam, on TikTok. He's a lot of fun. You also got your own podcast. Are you doing a lot with that lately?
I the past two episodes I missed last week and I'm because of Halloween I'm gonna miss this week because a lot of stuff is going on at work, but I'm going to get back on it. But it's yeah, it's something I try to do every week, but some weeks I
Mhm.
just need a mental health break
I
and other
understand.
weeks I need a because it's nothing I could really do ahead of time since about all the movies coming out each week. I talk
Mhm.
about it like that week. So but for the most part, it's still a very active show. It's just
All right.
sometimes
So
life gets in, like, life gets in the
yeah,
way.
yeah, obviously. Like I had a few weeks in October where I wasn't posting because of the hurricane.
Yeah. That's a good, out of all the reasons, I think that is a very good reason not to
Yeah,
post.
not having any power in my house is a pretty good reason not to be
Well,
doing
you
my
couldn't rub
podcast.
two Ethernet cables together, start a little internet fire. No? Okay. I thought that's just
Oh
me then.
man. Oh check out Billiam on TikTok and check out his podcast, which I believe this week with Billiam. They're
Future
signing like
Flicks with Billiam.
Future Flicks with Billiam, which I would assume is on most major podcast platforms. So
Yes.
definitely check that out. And thank you everyone for listening. If you like the scam analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this movie. So please let me know. If you'd like to listen more from me, please subscribe. Many more gamma analysis from me coming. So keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Smash Trivia John, signing off.